1. Welcome to the North Hudson Public Works Committee meeting Tuesday, July 20th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. Item number 1 on our agenda is call to order. Roll call, please.
Chair Pike.
Here.
Trustee Matz.
Here.
Trustee McGurran.
Here.
All right, item number 2 is approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Need a motion.
Move to approve the minutes from the June 15, 2021 Public Works meeting.
Second.
Okay, any questions or discussion about those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, carried. Item number 3 is comments from the floor. I'm not seeing any extras in here. So item number 4, purchase of brush cutting attachment discussion and possible recommendation. So I need somebody make a recommendation here first and then we can discuss.
Move to approve the purchase of the brush cat attachment for the Tri-State Bobcat at a cost not to exceed $5,200, funding to come from the Public Works Capital Equipment account.
Need a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion about it? So this goes on front of the skid steer, Patrick?
Yep.
How are you going to test it? I mean, you could come test in my yard if you want.
We've got plenty of testing ground, I think.
Okay, fine.
Is this like this goes on the front of the Bobcat and just rolls over like scrub brush and buckthorn and all that jazz?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a safer way to do it because you're in the cab. It's all run hydraulically. Yeah, stay in the heat or whatever, the cab or the air conditioning, whatever, and just a safer way to do it than having to walk behind. And when you hit those nasty ground bee nests, they don't get you quite as bad either.
Do you and this will work on either the Bobcat or the cat?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for Patrick on this purchase?
Just two, I want to confirm my understanding from the note that this is already in the capital improvement budget. So this is something that was planned for.
Yeah, it's in our what do you want to call it? Public Works capital fund. And I budgeted for it last year and it was approved. Yep.
Perfect. And then can you just, because I don't really understand, like where are the kinds of places that you would use this? Would it be the parks or what other areas would the village be responsible for the brush?
No, I like to clean up out on Cratley toward the Rod and Gun Club. I like to keep that clean like in the fall so that we can push snow a little bit further. Galahad Road is always an issue where we need to trim brush back because it grows out, and once it gets so long in the wintertime, we hit it with the mirrors on the trucks or the loader, and yeah, it just there's a few places where we would use it. So few of the parks, I guess, would be reasonable to say. Probably Ferry Landing Park, there's some spots where we could use it in too.
So it's helping the snow plowing, it's helping the sight lines, I would assume, too, when the brush gets for drivers' safety, et cetera.
Correct. Station Lane, I forgot to mention that down.
Yeah,
Station
I'm surprised
Circle
you missed that one.
Yeah, that's a big one that we'll use it.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Okay, Phil, any other questions for him?
Nope.
All right, it's a spending issue. Phil?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
And yes for me. That one is approved. And item number 5 is purchase of grapple bucket discussion and possible recommendation. Somebody give me a recommendation and we'll discuss.
Move to approve the purchase of a grapple bucket from Tri-State Bobcat and cost not to exceed $2,900. Funding to come from Public Works Capital Equipment account.
Second.
Okay, any questions for Patrick on this?
You're gonna follow up after your brush cutting with this scooper and pick it all up? I'm assuming that's the reason for the both at the same time.
Yeah, that, and when we do any tree trimming and stuff, it's nicer because that bucket will have
Yep.
a set of fingers on it so we can pick things up. The one that want to get is the bottom is open, so I was kind of hoping I could maybe use it to clean up the beach a little bit too. When we get high water, in the spring, all the logs and stuff are there. I was hoping that I could use it out there, but that'll kind of be a trial and error thing.
All right, any other questions on this one? If not, again, it's a spending issue. Mary,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes,
and I say yes, so that carries. Which takes us to item number 6, chair update. I have nothing today. Item number 7, engineers report. Kevin.
Yeah, just a couple of things. The Wisconsin Street North project that's slated to be constructed next year. It looks like they have all the right-of-way acquisitions now. in
Yay.
place. Yeah, so that's all come together. The final cost for the acquisitions came in at 4150 for all the 9 parcels, which is quite a bit lower than what we were originally budgeting for.
Great.
Yeah, so that turned out good. And then Core Engineering is working on putting the final plans and specs together. Those need to be into the DOT by August 1st, and then it's still scheduled to be for January 11th, 2022 bid letting. So as of now.
Okay.
And then the other thing is just start thinking, the next round of LRIP funding, those applications are due at the end of this year. Again, those are more towards local street, and typically the amount that's usually awarded is around 15 to 20,000 for each project is typically what we've seen in the past. The village does have 2 of those acquired right now, the St. Croix Street project and then the 5th Street. So those 2 pot of monies are sitting out there for the village. The one for St. Croix is about 18,000 and the 5th Street's about the same amount. So there's, there's a few months to think about, but just trying to get it on your radar screen if there's something that you want to apply for.
So when you say the
So-
money's sitting there, these are applications that have already been made and approved?
Yeah, there's 2 of them that the village has applied for and has gotten dollars. They're just, sitting in a fund that the DOT has. One of them would have to be done by year 2022, and then the following one would be in 2023.
Like January or December 31st?
So typically you have to have the whole project completed before you can actually do reimbursement. So the reimbursements are the following year of June 30th. But just to give, the village enough time to actually get it out on the street and bid and constructed, typically we like to see them done the previous year. So then it's just a matter of getting your paperwork in the following spring.
So that means St. Croix needs to be done this year? Is that what you're saying?
You would, next year is, if you wanted to use those funds, yeah, constructed next year. And then we would do a reimbursement in 2023 request. So.
How much of St. Croix were we doing?
From 3rd to 7th. And it was roughly about a $80,000 to $90,000 project. It's basically just a resurfacing.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it needs it. I don't know, when's the last time you've been down that street, Kevin?
Oh, gosh, it's probably been over a year now since I've
There
been
is,
there.
there is what street is that that's crossing? Third, no. Yeah, no, is it Third? Yeah,
Yeah.
Third's got a, quite a bump as you're going
Sure.
down St. Croix.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. I hit it the other day and I didn't expect it. But yeah, that'll be good to get that done. So 7th Street, so all the way up to, from all the way up to the villages, the Village Hall Street and down to 3rd Street.
Yeah, third. Yep.
Why wouldn't we go all the way to 4th?
Well, it's basically from third to 7th, that whole
Oh.
corridor.
3rd, 4th. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, yep.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
And that in Wisconsin and that one, those both came out of the last bond, right? Is that how we're paying for those?
I know the Wisconsin Street project was out of the bond. I'd have to check in on the St. Croix Street. Don't believe that was included, but
Okay.
we'd have to check into it.
No, it wasn't. I don't think Wisconsin's in there either.
I
Not
thought
in
it
the
Some of
was.
it is, I think.
In the financing that we just did?
I think some of it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe
Oh.
so. Yeah.
There. Okay, well, that one you'll have to double check with Melissa.
Sure.
I don't remember. I had it in my head that we didn't hit the bond for Wisconsin Street because we had that other money coming. Yeah,
Yep.
and so I thought we were just leaving Wisconsin Street because we knew we had the other funds coming, and even using those other funds would still leave us a big chunk.
Okay.
So I thought that's what I heard.
Sure.
Might want to double check it.
Sure.
But so Patrick, when we get to budget time, I guess we'll need that project listed for St. Croix Street.
I think
And
it's been on the CIP for quite a
Right.
while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If it's there, that's enough. Yeah. And what else is on there? Is what was the other street that you mentioned, Kevin?
5th Street's the other one. They have some dollars
Okay.
towards, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Kevin on that subject?
I do have a
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Mary.
No, you go, Phil. Go.
I have a process question that I'm just kind of curious about. How
Mhm.
come we use core engineering? Doesn't Cedar not design and develop that kind of stuff?
Yeah, with the DOT projects, there's a process that you have to go through. And since we helped you out with the application,
Yeah.
that kind of basically takes us out of the picture. So then we had to solicit, I think we solicited like 3 different engineering firms.
Okay.
We were able to do the sewer and water part of it, just like the 35 project. It's
Okay.
just when you get into like the curb and gutter, the storm sewer, the asphalt sidewalk, since those are a cost sharing item, then it's a different process that you have to go through.
Okay.
So just basically the funding that's involved.
Determines on how you can help us.
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank
So
you.
what's the actual request then to the board? Are we being asked to identify projects so that you can submit the application on behalf of the village, or what's the ask at this point?
Yeah, so basically it's to narrow down, which street section that you truly would want to apply for these dollars, which project. And again, it has to be like a local street. Is the requirement. And then, so the cost sharing is basically on storm sewer and asphalt and curb, that's a 50-50 split. Anything outside of that, then that would be 100% funded locally by the village. So if it included like sewer and water, just like the 35 project, the village would have to fund that 100%. That's kind of why we always like to go towards a smaller project and more of a resurfacing, just because we know we're not going to get a tremendous amount of dollars, but typically it's about 15 to 20,000. So,
So then what are the next steps? Patrick, is that something that you handle, or what happens next after this notice that this is available?
Mary, have you
Uh,
seen our Pacer rating sheet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so typically they look at the Pacer rating, see what's
Right
next
in
up.
front of me. That's what,
Yep.
so is that going to come into our capital improvement plan or our next year's? I mean, how does the process work for the next step, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out.
So I'll probably just work with Kevin, or Kevin and I will work together and
Thank you.
get some kind of numbers together. I'll go out and I've got a idea of what street I would like to do next. And I'll just talk that over with Kevin. We'll see how much work is involved. We'll see if we need water and sewer at that, because that would be something that we should look at in correlation with doing a street, which the street that I'm looking at, I think we would be okay there. We could just resurface the street. And then I would probably bring that to you guys and see what you thought of it, I guess, and then we'll put it in the budget and see what happens.
Got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Kevin, anything else?
yeah,
Well, Highway 35 project, how's it going? Bring us up to
Well,
speed.
and, segment 4 is obviously done with all the utilities. They're, currently working on segment 5.
Which way is that? North or south?
North. So
Okay.
from Monroe up to Summer Street.
Okay.
And it's definitely, the utilities are going faster than what segment 4 was. Seems like they've kind of picked their speed up, but overall, it's been going fairly well, I think.
So I'm hearing that the bridge is going to be at least remain open till after Pepperfest. Is that an accurate statement?
I haven't heard a tremendous about the bridge itself. I don't know if Patrick, maybe with some of those weekly meetings, if they've shared any information on that.
Yeah, I've shared a little bit, but what I've learned from that is that tomorrow those plans will change. It's construction work. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. I am a little bit, but I'm not trying. It's a construction project. I mean, things change on a daily basis. We all know that. Most of us, I think, have been in the business, but initially I think that's what they want to try to do. But I don't think anyone's going to promise that.
Okay.
But they'll do their best. I have no doubt that they won't do their best, because I really don't have anything bad to say about the crew that's out here. So they've been doing a good job.
And they've been patient. People, please stay off of the construction zone during the day. They had always promised to let you back into your driveways at night. There's been a couple of near misses out there. And it is important that our village folks stay safe and allow the workers to get their job done in a timely fashion. I would just tell you this, Patrick, that is the number one question I get when I'm out and about is, when is that bridge closing and how long is it closing? And are they doing the polymer overlay in, half and half? Are they doing it all at once? I have walked over to the bridge. I am seeing some of the structural trouble that it has. Zip ties are holding up a pipe run along the east side of the bridge. Have you seen those?
No.
Yeah, you might want to look at that. I don't remember seeing that before. That was 2 days ago.
You sure they're not, somebody didn't just put them there? I can't really believe that that's a thing.
Well, you take a peek.
I'll look at it. Yeah.
Okay. But I'm glad that and so the construction folks in general, they're happy. They feel like we're moving along. Do we know when they're going to lay that first cement yet?
It's looking like probably the 1st or 2nd of August
Okay.
is when they're going to start from Monroe to Michelson.
Okay. All right, great. Anything else for Kevin? Any other questions for Kevin or Patrick on 35?
Yeah, so when they do that cement on the 1st or the 2nd, is that the when we're going to be up late nights? Is that the cutting going to follow that in the next 24 hours?
Yeah, probably.
Yes, so
I wonder if there's any way we can get that information out if we have actual dates.
Yeah, I can get it out, but exactly what you said, when we have actual dates, I can get it out, and I don't, and again, I'm not trying to downplay it or be a smart aleck, but it's tough for them to set a date, because they could set a date and next thing you know, we're looking at rain, so then it would get pushed off. So I have no doubt that they're trying to do their very best. And as soon as I get a solid date, I'll get that to Melissa and she will get the word out. The other thing with that, pouring that cement, I believe they're going to try to have possibly some meetings for the residents on 35, like a on-site meeting, before they pour the cement, because there's going to be a period that they're not going to have access at all, because it's going to get poured, it's going to have to set, and it's going to have to cure and get cut. So, and we knew that coming into the project that was going to be a thing. So as far as I'm concerned, they've been pretty helpful and proactive on keeping us up to date. So I'm sure that they'll keep up with that. So I have no reason to believe that they won't.
So Patrick, like thinking the 1st or the 2nd is still definitely then an estimate. I know there was a discussion at the board previously, like how much notice and all of that, like what kind of notice do you think they'll be before they pour it and for the late night cutting?
I guess I don't recall what he initially said, what Barry initially said. But I'm pretty sure by the end of this week, what I heard in the last meeting was that he'd have a more concrete idea, no pun intended, as to when this was going to happen. And then he would reach out to me and Public Works Director and Hudson, and we would have discussion. So if, like I said, any information I get, I'll pass on to Melissa as fast as I can so that she can get the word out or whatever, because I know that's an inconvenience and it's a pain in the butt, but when it's all done, it's going to be really nice, and we just got to tough through it.
Yeah, yep, I hear you. And like Brian, I think people's highest concern too, in addition to the late night, is the bridge. And every time I read the updates, I'm not clear exactly what they're saying about that. And that's just because they really still don't know, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah,
Yes.
they don't. They can't. They aren't gonna give a solid date, because it's really hard to tell.
Or even if there's going to be a lane open or not.
I think they're going to try to keep a lane open for a period of time, but there is going to be a period where it's going to be completely closed.
Okay, thank you, Kevin, for the engineering report.
Yeah.
That brings us on to item number 8, director's report. Patrick.
I'm all talked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a whole lot other than kudos to the boys working out in the street. They've been they're a good group of guys, and they've been doing a good job, I think, and they're very good at communicating with me and with our engineering inspector. Everybody's getting along good, and I think that's helping the work to progress too, because we're all working together and trying to keep things moving. So yeah, and I did want to bring up something. I did get a quote from a local contractor, and I didn't get it out to you guys. It is for the installation of 24 feet of Schedule 40 4-inch sewer pipe that would be 8 feet in the ground. just so you'd have an idea of what it would cost a homeowner to have that put in. And this bid, and I can send this to you guys, comes out to $2,950 is what they're quoting there. So I'll send that out to you guys, just so you know. I kind of wanted to put that out there because it seemed like there was some confusion as to that we were just paying for the pipe or whatever. And as me personally, I felt that was kind of incorrect information. You're paying for labor, you're paying for moving equipment in, you're paying for a lot of things. And it's hazardous. We've got really sandy soil. You dig 8 feet down, most of the time those guys have trench boxes out there, and you have to have that in that type of soil. So that adds cost to things, So I guess I just kind of wanted to clear that up a little bit, that we're, yes, 4-inch pipe is not $100 a foot, but the installation of it included in that could be.
Might I suggest you get that off to really the entire board? Had to hear that little discussion.
Yeah, I'll include that in our board packet.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Anything else from you?
No, not really. Other than what I brought up to you before the meeting is I want to put in our budget this year. Kevin and I had talked, and we'll work on that together, making our own project street construction manual so that we have one of our own. So that's about all I got. Oh, I did hear on the skid steer. I'm supposed to hear tomorrow morning. Sorry about that. I texted him right before the meeting. So he said he would get me an answer tomorrow morning, or try to get me an answer. And the salt sand spreader that we got approved, they do have in stock. So we'll get that put on. And it sounds like the patch gate that I was waiting for the mat so that we could use the spray patcher is possibly just about here. So we may be able to take the 550, get the sander put on, and then take the dump truck and swap trucks and have that put on so we can get all that taken care of.
All right, good job. All right, that brings us to item number 9, discussion of public works capital equipment, current and 2022 budgeting. Anybody have anything they want on the budget or want Patrick to think about for the 2022 budget?
Yes.
Okay, what?
Would you ever think about giving up any of your 2021 equipment to buy a piece of equipment that would sweep the other side of the bridge that'll fit on that side of the bridge? Or at least put it in a 2022 budget.
Are you talking about like sweeping or snow blowing? Either or?
Right, because I know like it got dumped onto us and now we're responsible for it.
Yep.
And I know we fit on one side of the bridge and we don't fit on the other side of the bridge. I don't think they're correcting that in this 35 project. So, I mean, I'd like to build in some efficiency, I guess, versus somebody having to walk behind a snow blower.
Sure.
I don't know what that piece of equipment looks like, but something to think about.
Let me check into that. Maybe we could just get a snowblower attachment for our John Deere riding or tractor type mower. That might be a really quick, easy solution.
Yeah.
And I'll measure it and make sure it fits on there.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll write that down. I'll look at that, Phil. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Mary?
Yeah, question on the Paiser ratings then. Will those be, will there be a plan on the timing for replacement of those? Some of those ratings are fairly low. And is there a priority, and is that going to go into the budget?
As far as going into the budget, I guess like what we talked about, the ones that are really in need, off the top of my head, I can only think of like 3 streets that are really in need of some stuff. All the other ones probably would be taken care of with more seal coating, more spray patching, what have you. So, yeah, I guess I'm not entirely sure if I answered your question or not, but
So is there like a floor rating that those things that are rated at, whatever number and below would be in the budget?
I guess I haven't done that. I haven't been here a very long time, so I don't know. And I don't know that that's actually a thing even in other communities. It could be. I could check on it. But I think basically what it boils down to is if you have the funding to do it, and then if you have the funding and which street has the priority is probably what ends up happening in a lot of communities. Not a lot of communities are sitting as good as us as far as PACER ratings. I think we're pretty good as far as in the big picture of the PACER ratings. I know there are a few that are a little bit low, but I think for the most part we've got a pretty good average.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just trying to understand how that guided the budget, and it sounds like it's more just kind of the eyeballing of what's in most need. That
That's
drives
all
it more than the ratings themselves. Is that
Well, the ratings are being done by Kevin and Patrick as they eyeball the streets. And how often do you do that?
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
So every year they're checking them out and they're assigning PACER ratings to them. You have to do that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a say that again, Kevin?
DOT requires it that you have
Okay.
to input it in.
And so when we get those updated PACER ratings, and when do we get those each year? I forget.
Usually we do,
Fall.
yeah, fall time typically.
Fall, prior to budget, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we look at those new PACER ratings and we make decisions as we're going into our budget discussions, Mary, to help you understand. Well, if something is taking a dive, which not likely to happen up here, but we would then have to reconsider, maybe bumping that up the capital improvement project list, and those should be listed in priority already. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I understand there's numbers and they were done in 2020, and that there's a rating associated with each number. And so I'm just trying to understand how we actually use that. And I think I am hearing what you're saying. And so there's not a set rating that we say things below this number, below this rating need to go into the budget. That's what I'm hearing. That isn't how it works.
So just to clarify that a little bit, it's not the PACER ratings aren't all about, or the only thing, they don't deal with just, hey, we got to replace this road. We use, or I use, and Kevin uses the PACER ratings to see which streets are going to be in need of seal coating, what streets are going to be in need of patching, or a fog seal, or maybe the street needs a whole reconstruct. So it plays into that too. So when we look at the PACER, I'll look at the PACER ratings when we're going to decide what streets we're going to seal coat the next year. And then once you seal coat, then those PACER ratings on those streets will go up, because now you've seal coated it. You put another coat of liquid asphalt on top of it and rock. So then that improves your PACER rating. So we use it for that as well. So I don't know if that helps you at all or not, but.
Okay, any other thoughts on capital and equipment for 2022?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hey, speaking of spray patching, how did that go this year? Because that was kind of new, where you rented the machine and did it yourself. Was it
Haven't got
good,
it
bad?
done yet.
Oh, okay. All right,
No time.
very good.
It's because of the patch gate that I was talking to you about, or that I
Okay.
mentioned, we
All right.
approved it.
Okay.
I screwed up. It's my fault. I'll take the blame, but we will get it done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Oh,
Yep,
we'll hear
I'm-
about it when he gets it done.
Oh, yeah. You'll get
Okay.
some calls.
All right, fair enough.
All right, that takes us item number 10, future goals and agenda. Anyone? Mary, Phil, any new agenda items for next time?
Update on spray patching,
Okay, throw that on there.
if it's done.
I'll come over by your house when we get it going and I'll give you a demo.
Okay,
You could-
perfect.
You could throw that in your director's comments too,
Yeah.
Sure.
Patrick.
Yep.
And when
Item
will
on
we be
agenda.
looking at like a draft or estimate for the spending plan for next year? Is that
We-
coming
we
up
do
soon, it
that,
seems like?
Well, a little bit gets started right now. I'm sure Melissa and Nathan are looking at things right now, but we really don't move hard on that till end of August, September timeframe. And I don't think we complete it until October.
So maybe a report on where that's at next month, and then the month after would be the future agenda items. Is that correct?
Patrick can show us what our current spend rate looks like, or you can get that from Melissa too, in our public works budget.
So you want like a I guess say exactly what you want, Mary, and then I can try to write it down.
Sure. Well, I'm just looking at the capital, just our capital plan for the next year as we're getting ready to discuss the upcoming budget. So we have some time to think about it and look at it and take
Okay.
it all in.
Okay.
What your goals are, Patrick?
Okay. All right. Okay. Yep. That makes more sense. Sometimes you gotta dumb stuff down for me.
You know
Alright,
what needs to be done. So just,
Okay. All right. I'll put something together, or Kevin and I can. Yep.
okay. Anything else? Future goals, agenda? If not, I will call this item number 11, which is adjournment, and we are adjourned at 6:07 PM. Thank you, everyone.